then I filed lawsuits, and ever since I filed those lawsuits, after certain groups, including the government, saw that I was successful at what I did and that I was about to win the lawsuits, I had my car taken away from me illegally. My travel was obstructed. I was assaulted by FBI agents. My house was broken into. I was defamed by the FBI, who then defamed me to police, said I was harassed everywhere I went. And then when I tried to leave this country to get political asylum in a different country, it was already set up ahead of time. They negotiated with, I don't know how much they probably paid them, but I'm sure that Canada got paid. They refused to accept an international petition for political asylum, which is against international law. And instead they set me up to be arrested and have my son taken from me. And there was no reason to arrest me. They just wanted to arrest me because it was the only way they could get my son. And then throw him back to the United States and then tell me that I had to go back to the U.S. if I wanted to get him. So they forced both of us back to the United States illegally. And my travel was blocked from that point forward. During this entire time, the FBI refused to comply with the FOIA requests that I had made multiple times. I tried to work in this country just basically to get my son back, not because I wanted to continue living in this country. I deliberately did not want my son to have a social security number because by the time he was born, I already knew that we probably were not going to live here. And I didn't want him to be assigned a U.S. social security number when I didn't want him to have the burden of being a citizen of the United States or having any number assigned to him. If he wanted to choose that for himself later down the road, then that was up to him. But that wasn't something that I wanted to have happen, and when it was forced upon me, I had to take steps to have it rescinded. Basically to have it completely removed from being assigned to his name. And then the first thing that the United States did in violation of my parental rights and to rub it in my face was when they took my son from me in Canada. The first thing they did was stamp my son with a social security number again, knowing that that was against my wishes and it wasn't necessary. So it's been hate crime and retaliation for my attempt to get out from under being oppressed and the kind of abuse that they've leveled against me as they have used my parents to promote their own families. The entire time I was growing up, when I was younger, I didn't know that my parents were gifted in that way. I had no idea. I just never thought about it. I thought they were very smart. I thought that they were unusually smart, and for being so smart, why didn't they have more money? I mean, I thought that I didn't meet very many people like them. And they don't have college degrees and that kind of thing, but you could still tell, I could still tell that there was something different. But I never once thought that they worked for the government or that they were gifted psychically. It wasn't ever something that came up in any kind of conversation. They never talked about it with other people. I mean, they never mentioned that kind of a gift, occurring to others. It wasn't in conversation at all. And I did recognize that there was something going on. I mean, I did recognize that I was being oppressed, and that certain individuals seemed to have a high motive in wanting to watch me and observe me, and sometimes made a lot of comments. I sometimes wondered why there seemed to be this hatred against me and this interest in me, and I realize now that it was mainly because of my parents. I mean, maybe when I was younger, I was pretty, and I was very gifted with singing, and that talent of mine was exploited just as the psychic gift talent of my parents has been exploited. And really, we are not here to be exploited in this country. None of us wants to be used further by this government and by this country. And as I've said, they are not able to make this testimony, but they have encouraged me to go ahead and do so. And they also have encouraged me to try to get FOIA from the FBI that would prove that they are also victims of MK Ultra, and that my brother was as well, because my brother was in the program only a few months until they had the MK Ultra Senate hearings in 1977. And of the documents that the FBI finally gave me, far too late as they knew. There was a document that showed there was a file on me that was destroyed, supposedly, in 1977, basically within 3 days of those MK Ultra Senate hearings. And given the fact that I have observed my parents' psychic gift and know about some of the people that they work with in this government, given the fact that everybody that I've ever lived around my entire life has been military and FBI, and that I have basically been used as a slave or, babysitter for all of these FBI agents and federal employees, and then had my own son taken from me, I definitely am positive that my parents' files and my brother's file has the exact same disappearance of document. There's nothing unusual in my history. It's like I'm not born to a different family, and that's some sort of a secret that's being concealed. There's no other explanation for the document that is designated from 1977 about me, other than MK Ultra. I also remember being drugged with LSD, which is a marker of CIA and MK Ultra program, and that was done after the program was supposedly abolished. And it wasn't, it never was. And I doubt that those records have been destroyed either. I'm sure they were moved, but I don't believe that they were destroyed. I have, since I've been arrested multiple times and raped multiple times, with the United States not doing anything about any of those situations, and arrested basically every time I'm trying to get a job that would pay me something. And as I've been repeatedly corralled and had people try to force me to work for the federal government for basically nothing, but not work for anybody else or not work for myself and actually make money. As all of these things have happened, I have still tried eventually, I tried to get my son back. That was made impossible because of torture by NASA and the Pentagon. The CIA knows about it because the CIA and the U.S. Army are the ones that run the MK Ultra program. The FBI is definitely involved. They're the ones who use my parents for their psychic spying when they're trying to find people who are missing, or trying to solve crimes or figure other things out. So the FBI has used them. They've used them for their own, career enhancement, as have police. My parents are beat up if they don't perform for the government. We've all had children assassinated by the government, which is the United States way of saying, if you don't do what we ask you to do or what we want you to do, this is what we can do and what we just did, and we'll do it again. I have asked for or I guess I should say, I've tried to work in this country and live in this country and still get ahead. I'm tortured while I'm going to college now. That didn't used to be the case, but it is now. I have had the interest in starting a nonprofit since 2002, and the United States knows this. I believe that the fear from some private groups and government groups is that if I am successful in any capacity, I will come back with that money and sue them, because they saw what I did with the money I had, the small amount of money I had, and what kinds of lawsuits I was able to file in 2002, and how long I was able to carry those until they decided to pull out the big guns and tried to kill me several times, and then took my car from me so that I couldn't drive anywhere. And then they tortured me. So, they knew that nothing would stop me except death or torture. And so I've been tortured ever since I filed those lawsuits. Literally. And I was being tortured before with migraines that interfered with my work, but not on a daily basis. And I'm sure that some of these people in NASA are very, very, very rich, and I'm sure that they get private donations, and I'm sure that they're able to say that they just happen to have a unique skill in some scientific field that profits them very much. But there are people who are very rich who pay money to have us assaulted. And the United States government doesn't really care, because as long as they can use my parents, they don't care what happens to any of us. I have still wanted to work in this country, and I have my bank accounts closed. I have right now my primary account closed with all my legal files, and the FBI knows this. I believe that they are 100% involved in shutting down my primary account. I've contacted Microsoft several times about getting access back to that account, and I've given them forms of evidence to prove that I am the owner. I recently asked them if I could give them a letter, and if they are ready to receive a letter from it's an FBI document that shows that I am who I say I am, and they are ignoring me. And this has all of my legal files about people who have tried to block me from getting my son back. It also has all of my requests to the Department of Education and how I was blocked by them. It has my information on my correspondence with the FBI, and my political asylum, some of my political asylum stuff, my UN reports that I tried filing, and and all of my bank messages. So when they closed down my bank account in an unauthorized closure, and then tried to blame me and put bad marks on my credit history, and they did not give me the notice that they were supposed to provide before they closed my business account that I'd had for several years, almost a decade. All of that documentation is in this Microsoft account that Microsoft is blocking me from using. It also contains every attempt that I've made to have a review of judges that are corrupt and crimes that they've committed. And it also contains the fact that I filed a petition for habeas corpus.